Hey guys, Chris with Tillman Family Farms. It is about 8 o'clock on Sunday morning. We're going to be doing some work out here in the pasture today. I want to show you guys some things that we're doing in this big section of woods that's behind the camera, and we're going to be setting up to move the cows. I had a lot of questions from people asking how in the world do you keep those cows in with that string that we see from the road. Well, today I'm going to show you how we set it up and how simple it is and how easy the cows move with it, to give you a good idea of why it is a psychological thing for the cows. That rope is not holding them in physically, it's all mental. So before we get started on moving the cows or setting up to move the cows, I want to show you guys a project. It's a long-term project here to improve the grazing and the ground that we have to graze here on our farm. I'm standing in the edge of the woods. There's about 7 acres of woods right here, and I'm gonna flip this camera around just a second to show you what we've been doing and what the plan is for all of this area right here. But the intent is to try to turn this into silvo pasture over time. We're not going to start some big logging deal and you know, do all kinds of crazy stuff out here trying to get it done real quick. But over the next probably 2 to 3 years, we're going to pick sections and go through, and we're going to thin them out, and we're going to get some seed planted and hopefully get it growing and still have some really good shade out here for the animals to take refuge in. All right, so if you can see right there, those trees are marked. Those trees are going to come down. And what we've done, so yesterday we went ahead and we cut the trees that we were going to cut, and we bucked them up into logs, and we went ahead and burned off all of the limbs. My chipper is messed up right now, so eventually we'll be chipping a lot of this stuff and using it for compost piles and things like that. But I'll walk you down here real quick. I don't want to take too much time in this video. This is just something that's added value to our grazing. But as you can see, so tree there, that one's going to come out, tree up there, and then there's just several other trees down through here that are marked. Just trying to thin the canopy so that we can get some light in here and hopefully get some stuff growing. Now you can see all the trees out through there that are marked. We went and found the big trees. Big trees are going to stay. So a lot of the smaller trees are coming out, but about every 3rd tree that is that size, we're leaving it. We're leaving it so that one day it will take the place of these bigger trees like that one back there, because eventually that tree is going to die and it's going to need something to take its place in here to keep the value of the shade and everything else that's in here. So, and you can see trees all down there that are marked as well. But you can look down through there at how many trees are in here. I don't like cutting trees. I have fought this idea for almost 7 years of living here. And in order for us to regain some graze, we got to do it. So that's the biggest part of my decision to go ahead and do this. So, but that's what it is, creating silvo pasture. Let's go move some cows. All right, so there the cows are. You can see the line, you can see this borderline up here. What we are going to do is set up another line that's like that one, and we're going to do that straight across right there. So we have the chickens set up now to where the chickens will take on their role of cleanup behind the cows. So as soon as we get the cows moved out of this section into this new one, we'll get the chickens moved over in there on top of their the cow manure. They'll start spreading it and utilizing all of the bugs and everything else that come along with that. So I'm actually going to put a timer on this and see. I do have, my dad is supposed to come out and help me here in just a little bit, but I set the last one up pretty much by myself. It took me about an hour, but all I'm going to do, run a line all the way across there, and then I'm going to split this section, and then I'm going to move a charger over, and then I'll open it up to the cows. So I've got some temporary posts to drive in. Only going to use one T-post. There's a hard fence on the other end. There's a T-post here. So I'll go from this T-post all the way to the other end. I'll come back and I'll set my temporary post, my 1 T-post in the middle to pull it tight across the middle. And then I'll start back here and I'll pull tension all the way to that T-post before I move on. All right, so let me show you what I did. I've got a handle like this connected to my trunk line that runs long ways. And if you can see it, you can see it run all the way down through there. So as long as it took me to walk with a reel in my hand to the other end, and I've got this strung up. So now I'm gonna take my temporary post and set them in down here. And actually probably gonna lower this a little high right here, but I'm gonna set my temporary post. There's only gonna be about 4 between here and then the middle, maybe 5. So I'm gonna do that. And then we'll pull this line tight to right there. I'll get the one across the middle tight, and then I can let the cows in here, and then I can finish the other side of it after I let them in, because they're antsy. They've been talking to me. All right, so I'm at the midway point. This is where I drove my T-post. As you can see, I've got it stretched and wrapped and tied around the insulator on the T-post. And you can see my other line laid out on the ground. My reinforcements have arrived, so Dad's out here helping. So all I'm gonna do now is take a couple of posts and stand up this center line, then get it stretched across there tight, and we can actually let them in this paddock. All right, so to get tension on this and get it to this wire and have conductivity from this wire to the one in the middle, just kind of have to get creative a little bit. So if you can see, I got this insulator up here for the main trunk line, and I've just got 2 extra ones down here. So what I do is I take this and I'll pull it tight to this wire, and then I'll flip it and wrap it around it. That's going to give it conductivity. It's tight behind me. So then I take it down here to this one, and I wrap, actually I want to go the other way. Wrap it twice over that, and then I come down and I just wrap it up like that. I'll take this down and show you guys. All right, so that's where I twisted it over. And I run it down. It stays far enough off of the T-post to where you don't have an arc. And then you just wrap it around and wrap it around, and it keeps tension on it. Get that tight like that. You don't have any arcing or anything like that. So these guys are ready. So we're gonna go down to the far end, down there, and let them in. While we're doing that, Dad is gonna finish driving these so that we pull that tight and get that all fixed up and have a second set ready to go. All right, so you can see this T-post over my left shoulder. That's where we're gonna let them in at. We're getting better and better at this. We're only about 25 minutes in setting this up. So I'm gonna let them in, and we'll talk about the grass and how it's recovering, how it's not recovering, how well this is doing and how well it's not. So I'm gonna walk down here and call them up and let them in. Come on, cow. Come on, cow. Come on, cow. Come on, cow. cow. Let's go. Come on, pick it up, pick it up. Let's go, let's go. Come on, cows. Come on, cows. Come on. All right, so let's talk about the grass and all itself. So we are having some pretty good recovery. Really not the way that I want it to be. They've got 1 day in here at best, probably, maybe a day and a half. But the further we go back in the pasture, the better the regrowth is getting. We've actually got a big pile of compost that I'm going to go up here on the hill up by the road and start spreading probably this afternoon. But I do it the old-fashioned way. I don't have a manure spreader, so we're going to bring it bucket by bucket with tractor, do some hand spreading, some shake spreading with the tractor and all that stuff. But that's it, guys. That's how it is. The reason that they stay in here and the reason that they don't fool with that wire is that we have a solar electric charger on this thing that charges at 7,000 volts DC. So that's not the same power that's in the receptacle in your house. That's only 120 volts. So this is DC, so it's direct current. So where alternating current, which is in your house, tends to contract your muscles, this gives a pop and it wants to push you off. So that's what's on this wire. They got shot by it a couple times and they just don't dig it. So they don't fool with it. They know by now that we're gonna come out here and move them to a new spot to where they get something else to eat. So they trust us to do that. So they leave the wire alone until we come out and get it all moved around. But that's about the size of it. That's all it takes. So that's it, guys. A little Sunday morning workflow, getting these cows moved around. We still have a lot of stuff to do today. I may work on another video later on. Our last pig farrowed overnight, so I did a little short video on that this morning. But we'll do a pretty lengthy video on piglets and how many and the survival rate so far and all of those good things as we farrowed on pasture the whole entire time. But for now, that's it. We got other stuff to do. We appreciate you guys watching. If you haven't done so, please go down and like and subscribe. Ring that bell so you'll see all the videos we put out. And we will see you on the next video.